Hey guys, welcome back! Time for a not so retro review, and this time around, it's all about gravel. And it's such an accessible game that even a 7-year-old can master. Let's take a look! Some say that gravel pays an homage to Sega Rally, but I honestly think that Colin McRae Dirt 2 was its main inspiration. Even this engine roar is practically identical. Gravel was announced a year ago in the beginning of 2017 and caught everyone off guard with an initial release date aiming to the end of August of that same year. Later was pushed forward for an early 2018 release, so here's my copy. Arrived one day after its official release and immediately ventured myself into the career mode. As you can see, I opted for the PC game because I believe that it's the definitive version of Gravel, showing all its graphical power and playability. My PC specs are as follows: Gigabyte B350 Gaming 3 motherboard, check. AMD Ryzen 5 1600 processor, check. G-Skill 16GB of DDR4 RAM, check. Nvidia Strix GTX 960 with 4GB of RAM, check. Xbox 360 controller, check. Logitech Driving Force GT steering wheel and pedals, check. So, let's do this! Being Gravel an arcade racer, let's try it with a 360 controller. The first thing I noticed was the really low force feedback transmitted to the controller, and I couldn't find a setting in the game's menu that could increase it. The second thing was the annoying driving aids that prevented me from winning races. I want to slide around corners and be able to brake at the last minute, so I simply had to turn all that stuff off, and I will get more points by doing that. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about! When I saw footage of those stadium events with these mighty trophy trucks, I thought that I would hate it and completely avoid these races, but with all the aforementioned driving aids completely turned off, it's a freaking awesome ride! I love how the truck feels and plays in these slippery conditions. I have to always counter-steer and be gentle with the throttle to keep these over-the-top huge horsepower machines steady and glued to the track to be able to simply move forward. And with an 800 horsepower beast is way more difficult than with a 580 horsepower truck. Oh yeah, and I just think that it's an awesome attention to detail by Milestone. Well done, guys! This really brings a smile to my face. Trying to control these beasts is really fun. By the way, you might remember this LA stadium from Dirt 2. Ring a bell? Also, if you played Dirt 2 till there wasn't much more to do left, you'll recall that going through water was this overwhelming and mind-blowing experience, mainly when driving inside the car. In Gravel, it's this... Come on, guys! Couldn't you do better? Dirt 2 was released almost 10 years ago. So I was kind of disappointed with the water effects in Gravel, but that wasn't all. Where the hell is all the dust and particles being kicked from the rear end of all the other drivers in front of us? Better saying, where's all the gravel? And I would love to see stuff flying while crashing, just like in Wreckfest. Is that too much to ask? I truly hope that Milestone can address these issues in the future. In the meanwhile, and after I used the Ford Focus that I won after beating one of the main rivals, the game got stuck in its own logo. Yeah. Gladly, a couple of days later, Milestone released an update to correct this highly annoying bug. There's obviously other minor graphical glitches that doesn't affect gameplay whatsoever, but even so, I would love to also see those sorted out. Besides all that, Gravel plays extremely well with a 360 controller and can really be a friendly game to all those that just want to drive around safe and not having to deal with loss of grip and control, just like in the good old days of arcade racers. So it's a truly welcome title in a time when everyone was starting to get a bit tired of extreme driving simulators nowadays, and speaking for myself, I'm a bit exhausted of concrete and asphalt kind of racers. It bothers the hell out of me, and I quickly forget about all of them and always return to these off-roadish and adventure-ish kind of feeling in idyllic and remote places. That's why Pacific Rift is my favorite from the MotorStorm franchise. And what about gravel with a proper wheel and pedals? Does it make any difference? Yes, it does if you turn off all driving aids just like me. Even so, playing with a 360 controller is quite enough, even with all aids turned off. Milestone really created something special with gravel, and if you love arcade racing games, you can't go wrong with this one. As you know, I love racing from point A to point B, and as you can imagine, the cross-country stuff is an absolute thrill. For instance, driving in Namibia is so freaking awesome. And have you tried the speed cross track in this mining spot in the Australian outback? Whoa, what a ride! And besides these two disciplines, there's also the aforementioned stadium events, wild rush races, and a sort of gate crashers similar to what we could also experience in Dirt 2 and 3. You're probably asking yourselves why I didn't grab the PS4 version. You know that besides being cheaper, the PC version can really achieve a higher graphical richness with also a more stable number of frames per second without noticeable losses that could ruin a race. You just need to have the specs for it. Also, and cause I wanted to try gravel with a steering wheel, the PC was my first choice for this game, mainly due to compatibility issues. I know that my Logitech Driving Force GT is fully compatible with the PS3, but I don't quite know if it works with the PS4. I have to try it someday with, for instance, WRC7. The rewind function, also present in Milestone's previous rally racer, also returned in where we can even control the car while still in slow motion, allowing us to correct its trajectory, and some rallycross tracks really reminds me of Rally Evo. Besides that, and when driving through water, all the dust and mud will quickly be washed out. Look at it, all shiny and stuff. I was hoping that gravel would offer a realistic track deformation. I was sad to realize that it was completely left aside. Again, these minor things won't ruin all the fun that gravel has to offer, because it was designed from the ground up to be simply that, fun. And you can't go wrong with it. I left the online experience for last, because since gravel was released, I've been trying to play it online. Occasionally I was able to find a server with someone to play with, and it's just as fun as playing offline, so it seems that practically no one is playing the multiplayer mode of gravel. To conclude, if you're tired of serious racing games that will penalize you for everything and for nothing, give gravel a spin, and it will certainly bring a lot of smiles to your faces. So guys, hope you've enjoyed my review on Gravel, this little game that brought back the fun from the arcade racers of the past. And if you want to see more racing related content, feel free to browse the channel and you'll find a ton more videos with a ton other games from a genre that I absolutely love playing. In the meanwhile, click that bell icon so that you're notified when all my future content becomes available. I also cover a lot older stuff from the 80s and 90s, so don't be a stranger and prepare for a huge dose of nostalgia. Also, don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe to It's a Pixel Thing. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode.